Welcome to another episode of Charros Y Clasicos, a Basque Strings podcast. I'm your host, Miguel Gutierrez, and I'm here with my good friend and co-host, Joel Ozuna.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in. We've been pretty busy these past few months. We haven't had a chance to record, but we're back now. So our next guest is a violinist from McAllen, Texas. He's currently the head mariachi director for McAllen High School. In addition, he's also a member of the Grammy-nominated Mariachi Los Arrieros del Valle. Please welcome Alex Trevino.
Thank you, guys. Very happy to be here with you guys. Thank you, Miguel and Joel, for having me on board. Very, very exciting podcast, very exciting times for mariachi music, and I'm happy to be here with you guys.
Yeah, it's been quite a couple months, right? That we got busy, and
I think we all got busy.
it was just, ever since the end of the year, it just boom, 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 thing after thing after thing. So, I'm very thankful that we could sit down and finally do this. Joel and I had talked about you, and we actually wanted to do something before the Hollywood Bowl, like to feature key members of the group.
Yeah.
And, it got busy, as we're saying, but I'm glad we're here. So how you been, man?
I'm been good, man. Been good, just enjoying some time off. Definitely, like you say, busy times for everybody. And it's a good kind of busy, but at the same time, it's good to sit back and finally have some time on our hands to just kick back and relax.
And then just recently, you guys got back from Hollywood Bowl?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we came back from the Hollywood Bowl just a couple of weeks ago. So that was a very, very unique experience for all of us, of course, with Los Arrieros. I think it was our 9th or 10th time at the Hollywood Bowl. So it's, hadn't been over there in about 5 years. So it is definitely always a beautiful experience, man. It's like, it's always the first time.
And then this year was also a special occasion because you guys got to take your students, right?
Yes, that's right as well. So the three Arrieros directed groups from Rio Grande City High School under the direction of Marcos Arate and his team, and Ed Couch, Elsa High School under the direction of Marcos Garcia and his team, and McAllen High School under my direction and my team. It's nine of us from Arrieros working with those groups. So each school got to go out there and represent and share the stage with Los Arrieros. So it is definitely the first time that anything like this happened. So it's a beautiful experience for the kids and for all of us as well.
I'm sure you've been telling this story for a while, but how did that come to be? Did you have this idea? Did they approach you?
Well, we got a call from Rodri Rodriguez, who is the creator and the executive producer and CEO of Rodri Entertainment, puts on the Hollywood Bowl. It's been 34 years already. And so her and her artistic director, Anthony Medrano, always find a way to keep it fresh. So over the years, they've had, the likes of Sol de Mexico, Mariachi Vargas, Los Camperos, Cobre, America, Nuevo Tecalitlán, you name it. And there's a Mariachi USA Education Foundation that she put together some years back. And so there's always different groups from the area that perform and get to be a part of the show in one way or another. Sometimes not up on stage, but sometimes opening up as people walk into the area at the Hollywood Bowl. She puts on workshops for those kids. She's very involved with the education aspect of mariachi music. And so when we get the call for Los Arrieros to go out there and perform, she asks as well, about any group here, educational groups, mariachi group in the area of students. So we kind of let her know, well, Los Arrieros, we're all, involved with the school. So it'd be pretty cool if our students would be a part of that. We'd love it. And she goes, well, you know what? That's a great idea because this is something that I don't think anything like this has ever been done before of this magnitude, where we have a professional group here representing, and then so many schools.
I was going to ask.
3 schools, yeah.
That's never been done there, right?
Yeah, no, first time that they did something of this magnitude. She's had, schools here and there performing, but not to this level where there's a connection to the professional side of mariachi, which is Los Arrieros, plus also the connection through the education, route. So it was definitely something very special. So when she said that, I was taken aback. I was really excited about it. And she said, talk to the guys, talk to Marcos and Marcos and see what they think. And of course they were really excited for their kids as well. And the rest is history. Just took off. And one thing after another happened really fast. It was about a 3-month period that we put it all together. So obviously a big undertaking. They did make a generous, donation to all of our programs, but the rest of it, we had to put that together with our school. So, kids were excited, parents were excited. So we made it happen, and it was a fantastic time for everybody.
And that explains why you guys were doing all these fundraising events throughout the year, right?
Yeah, definitely. So, personally, at our school, we have ongoing fundraisers throughout the year for different things, that we might, want to do outside of the ordinary, stuff that the district covers, for the kids. And we had planned, going out to the Albuquerque conference in the summer or the Jose Hernandez one in Los Angeles. And but this opportunity came about, and something like this, performing at the Hollywood Bowl, for students, you don't pass that up. I mean, that's amazing right there. So we kind of transferred what we had already started and then just made a big push for it in the last few months of the school year. And I think everybody was kind of in the same boat as well. It kind of worked itself out. So it was a fantastic experience. It's hard to describe it, but we're very, very blessed and very, very humbled that this came about. And, all of us as arrieros directors could represent with our kids.
And to coordinate your own rehearsals, right, with arrieros and then your own kids, like, man, I'm imagining that's taxing or took a lot of time.
Yeah, definitely. It's it's the busiest time of the year for us. I mean, it's always busy, for mariachi. It's like they say there's no season for mariachi. It's not like it's in the fall or it's in the spring. It's like year round, and even summer sometimes for a lot of us. So it was definitely tough to put it together. Put the kids music together. Plus, at the same time, arrieros, because most of the time the Hollywood Bowl usually happens. Mariachi USA usually happens at the end of June, last week of June or the third week of June, and so there's always time to prepare. But this one happened the first weekend of June, so with all the busy schedules and everything going on, we still had to find the time to rehearse for arrieros. So it was an undertaking, and pero I nos traían, andábamos putting everything together, to make sure that we went out there and represented, and we were very excited, definitely. So we did what we got to do.
Yeah, well, you made it work.
Yes, sir.
So what are your projects right now?
With Los Arrieros, we are on the verge of releasing our third CD or our third album, shall I say? Coming up soon in the next couple of months. So that's very exciting. A lot of really good, really exciting music on there from our group, from our arranger Marcos Zarate and all the guys. So we're hoping to be able to put that out for you guys by the end of the summer.
And so this album, you guys have been working on it for quite a long time, right?
Yeah. It's little by little here and there. Of course, the pandemic, kind of got in the way, and so that put a halt to things. But we've continued on, here and there, bits and pieces around everybody's busy schedules to kind of finalize what's going to be on there. So it's definitely an exciting project with on a professional basis with Los Arrieros.
What about the McAllen group?
With our kids, we just celebrated our 35-year anniversary of the program. So, I believe Joel was there at the concert in support. And, we thank you guys for all the support throughout the year, for not just for our program or our schools, but, just everybody. We see all the support you guys do for mariachis across the valley, across the Rio Grande Valley, as well as orchestras and all that. And it really makes a difference having you all support, to continue with our program. 35 years of the program in McAllen, so it was a special moment. We brought back alumni, graduates from all over Texas, all over the country, to come and perform. So we put that concert together at the end of May, right before we went off, a week before the Hollywood Bowl. So that was a difficult undertaking in itself, putting back together all the graduates, putting that repertoire together within just a few days, and plus all of the kids' repertoire as well. So yeah, those are some of the projects that we're doing with our students. Been putting together some recordings little by little as well. Some stuff that we did through the pandemic and some stuff that we've added on here and there. The summer months, sometimes gives us a chance to do some of that. So we're working on completing a project. No deadline on that, just little by little, putting together, recordings with the kids that we have. A lot of talent in our schools, and you guys, everybody saw that out at the Hollywood Bowl with all of our students, from Rio Grande, from McAllen, from McAllen, and of course, all the other Valley schools and across the state of Texas. There's a lot of talent out there, and a lot of times we have our kids performing. We have students come and go, and sometimes we don't get a chance to document that all. I mean, we have videos, of course. We have, live performances, but it's always special when you can get together a group of kids and record them, professionally as well to have a sort of historical, documentation of that. So that's very special. I know there's a lot of groups that are doing that as well. So that's one of the projects we currently have. So definitely exciting times for the kids.
Not just that, but it also gives them that experience recording.
Oh, yeah. A lot of those experiences that most of us didn't get till we were, a lot older.
Way older, yeah.
Way, way older. So you see some of these kids doing what they're doing now, just home studios and, in their living rooms and putting stuff together of really, really high quality. So to see our kids being able to do that, we'll give them the experiences that we can, and then they go out there and they pick up where they left off. So they're putting together some really, really good stuff, really, really nice stuff at such a young age. So it's definitely a blessing to be able to do that and see them progress and develop, through their musical careers.
Right before we started the recording, I was trying to find a bio on you, or just to see what I could ask you about, fact checking.
Yeah.
And I saw one of the school group, and I read through it, and I thought, I know about the kids. Okay, that's there, but what about the mastermind? I want to know more about the person behind this project. So I guess now we're going to lead to your upbringing. I really don't know much about you. I just know who you are. I've always known who you are, but I don't know the origin. So why don't you tell us how you started in your own musical journey?
Yes, sir. Well, thank you. My family come from on my mom's side of the family. They're very very musical. All my tios, my tias, my primos, musicians in the outskirts of the city of Camargo. So it's on the other side of Rio Grande. That's Starr County area. So they're from Camargo, from the little rancherias around the area and all the ejidos out there. So they were musicians from day one. Grupos norteños, música norteña, basically. Not mariachi. I was the first in my family that got into mariachi, but música norteña. Los Hermanos Morin from back in the 70s and 80s. That's where I guess the musical side of the family comes from. On my dad's side, that we did have a few aunts and uncles que cantaban también. They sang and played, but not as much as on my mom's side. My mom was a singer throughout, not a professional singer, but singing throughout all of her childhood, along with my tias and my tios. So that was my first connection to music of any type, música norteña. Started playing a musical instrument in orchestra, McAllen Orchestra at Escandon Elementary. Well, it used to be a middle school back in the day, a sixth grade orchestra program. And then at Brown Middle School, went on to McAllen High School and in the McAllen orchestra programs. So that's where my experience with music started, playing the violin. As far as me playing anything, I didn't pick up anything until I was, in the sixth grade. But that was my first experience with playing an instrument. Then mariachi music didn't come into the picture for me till I think about halfway through my sophomore year in high school. My mom loved mariachi music. She loved, of course, music of all types, but she was, very big on música de mariachi. And since I was playing the violin, she was, she was kind of hinting that I joined the mariachi. There was a mariachi that had just started off, of course, at McAllen in 1988. And she wanted me to be a part of it, and I didn't want to. No me gustaba. I was like, I don't know about that.
I was going to say, did you choose it or were you put there?
Yeah, I was put there basically, okay. So, and that's kind of like what a lot of our kids, nowadays, kind of go through at the schools. So, I saw, some of my best friends, playing there already. They had already grown to be a part of it, and they would, try to convince me as well, from time to time. And I was like, nah, I don't know about that. Like, no, I was into orchestra music and heavy metal and, hard rock and all that stuff from, growing up in the 80s and 90s. And so I didn't want to do it. And she had been at it for a good year and a half. And there was a competition coming up in Kingsville at the time. I don't even know if it had a name, but it was a competition of some type. And so my friends were like, hey, we're going to go to a big competition coming up in a few weeks. And it's a free trip over there. We get to go out there and have a good time. And we get to meet different people and, get on a bus and go out there and just have a lot of fun, and you should consider joining. And I'm like, I don't know about that, man. I don't know about the music. I didn't know anything about the music, really. I was just, just what I would see here and there. So I was really, really ignorant or clueless to what it was all about. So took a little bit more, more convincing. And I actually said, you know what, I'll go out to a rehearsal and see what it's all about. And so he gave us the music. Mr. Morales, Liceo Morales, was a director at the time. And, I remember it was at Cascabel. that they were going to compete with that. That's when, that was really popular, back then. El Cascabel, La Malagueña, and La Ranchera, Se Me Olvidó Otra Vez de Juan Gabriel. So that was the contest music at the time. And so, I like Cascabel, and Malagueña, and Se Me Olvidó Otra Vez was a little slower. And at the time I didn't, like all kids, we don't understand why we're playing this music, but hey, we'll go with it. And so I liked the rehearsal. I liked the way everybody, interacted with each other and the different things that went on, the singing, which I had never really done before, and the coros and, all the interaction with the crowd. And so I enjoyed it, and I went back to that next rehearsal and the next one, and pretty soon it was time to go out and compete. We went out to compete at Kingsville, and I remember we brought everything back. I don't even remember who was competing or what groups were out there. I just remember we were excited because we brought back a trophy and all these, accolades, and that was how it started. And after that, I was hooked. And so, here I am. And I think that's a story that a lot of people have as well, with their experience. I don't know your experiences with mariachi either, but that was mine right there. I was kind of like pulled into it, kind of, hey, you got to do it. I didn't want to. And then once I did, I loved it. And of course, my mom, my dad, my family, they were really, really excited for that. And my mom finally got to see me up there performing and playing music that she actually, related to or could understand. She'd go to the orchestra concerts, but she was like, mijo, they all sound the same, all the songs. And so like, I don't understand it. I toy and, I te aplaudo, but, of course with mariachi music, it was different because there was a connection there.
They can relate.
That she could relate to and understanding all the, all the lyrics, all the words. And so it was definitely a beautiful, life-changing experience, I would say.
So tell us about your time at university.
University of Texas, UTRGV, back when it was Panet. So yeah, I was part of that group out there when I first went to college with Dr. Guerra. It was in its, maybe not at the beginning of it, but it's still in its infancy. So that was a beautiful experience being a part of the mariachi, UTPA mariachi before it had a name. So, Dr. Guerra, definitely a pioneer in mariachi education at the university level. And we had a lot of great experiences with them performing out there. I think we went to the very first Mariachi Vargas extravaganza. We went out there to compete that, I think it was 95 or 96. I don't recall exactly which year, but the very first one. Competed out there as a university mariachi and got to see Vargas for the first time. So, I'd never seen Vargas performing live. So that was definitely a beautiful experience. We got to go out to Canada as well. One of the very first trips out of the country for UTPA mariachi. So we were out there in Canada for about a week and a half or two, performing as part of a university exchange initiative of some sort. So we're in Ottawa. We were in Ottawa, Canada. Couple of other places. I'm not sure what those cities were, but Quebec, we were out there as well. So it was definitely a beautiful experience to be a part of that group and continue growing, past the things that we did in high school. So it was a chance to meet a lot of other people that were just as excited or passionate about mariachi music as we were. So it was definitely a beautiful experience.
Is this around the same time that you joined Arrieros?
Arrieros came a little bit after that. So Arrieros, we started it back in 1997, I believe, 96, 97. So it was a few years after joining the UTRGV or the UTPA group right there. And Los Arrieros kind of was a different scenario when it first started as well. A good friend of mine, Homer Gutierrez, and I had been in San Antonio for about a year, gigging, performing with some groups out there. We came back to the valley and started Los Arrieros, and it started off as a little group of 6 or 7 guys at Talon, just learning rep, which was the other side of it. Of course, through the school, we play the songs that you play in, your normal, high school repertoire. At the university, your normal university repertoire. But when we were out there in San Antonio performing, it was a big a big difference to what we were used to, because it was with groups that were out there, gigging for songs, at a restaurant, at different places, for whatever the client wanted. And we didn't have too many experiences, here in the valley. There was a group called Nueva Generación before Arrieros that eventually that's what turned into Arrieros. And so we had some experience there, but not at the level that we got our experiences out there, out of the valley. So I know when we came down here to the Valley and started Arrieros, we kind of wanted to do, go that route with learning a lot of repertoire, learning a lot of songs that we didn't currently, have under our belt, and little by little added onto it. We were out there at the different, restaurants, working through college and learning more rep and building the group. And so that's how Los Arrieros came to be. But it was a few years after the UTRGV or the UTPA group.
Wow, I had no idea.
Yes, sir. It was it took a while, but it was 6 or 7 of us, 8 of us, and then it eventually grew out to the group of 10 or 12. Yeah, yes. As a lot of young blood graduated from the high school groups, out from Roma and from different areas. That's Nico came around, and Danny and all those guys. It just kind of came together and changed the trajectory of what Los Arrieros was. Of course, changing with the times to build the group up to a performance or a show group, but at the same time trying to maintain as much of the of the repertoire, when you're out there, in the gigging world.
Not too long ago, I had you remember Jaime Lopez?
Oh yeah, Dr. Lopez now.
Yes.
Yeah.
He came out of the shop and his kids signed up for violin.
Nice.
He mentioned to me how he was one of the pioneers for Arrieros también.
Yes, sir.
And
he was our first Vihuela player.
There you go. And he was also played with UTRG, right?
Yes, sir.
First one.
Yeah, he was there with UTRGV at the time. I think he was out there in Canada as well. And of course, Mr. Loera, Frank Loera, was Ancho, and Daoya también is when he first started with the group. So, and I think we could go on and on with the different because there's so many different different things to talk about. But yeah, those are great experiences that we'll never forget. Dr. and Frank have done a fantastic job there at UTRGV, and it's been so cool to see it, evolve, through the years, from when it first started, when we were a part of it, until when you guys were there as well. Totally different experiences that we didn't have at the time, but with the symphonies and the operas and all the other stuff that you guys got to do. But it was definitely the beginning of getting it to where it is now.
I feel like like you said, every iteration of the group has, contributed their own, stepping stone or their own nick on that stick of where it's at now. So yeah. I agree with what you're saying. I just want to backtrack a little bit because, of course, I completely forgot to ask. So when you go into university, did you know that music was it for you? This is what I'm going to do.
No, I did not actually. When I first went to the university, I wasn't sure what I was doing. I had it in the back of my mind that that's what I wanted to do. But of course, life gets in the way, things happen and one thing leads to another and your course is changed or altered, and a lot of times some people say, hey, I wish it didn't go that way because, this or that. But a lot of times things happen, and they happen for a reason and they just bring, more, I guess, more richness to your life and to what you're going to eventually end up doing. So when I went into UTRGV, that's what I wanted to do, or in the back of my mind, that's one of the things I wanted to do, but I wasn't exactly sure. So I did about a year there, and that's when I went into San Antonio, went out to San Antonio for about a year, came back, started Arrieros, continued with the university, but I was on and off, kind of, I'd go, I'd stop going, I started working, met my wife or, got married and had kids. And so, one thing leads to another. And so you got to work a full-time job. You're not always able to go back to school and do what you want to do. So what started off as not really knowing, and then, okay, I'm going to be a music major. This is what I want to do. All of a sudden went back to, I'm going to be away from college for a while because I'm not able to hold on a full-time job and support a family and go to school too. And so that kind of took a different route and didn't go back to school till years later. I would say maybe about 7-8 years after I graduated from high school. And that's when my son was already about 6 or 7 years old, my oldest son. And I wanted to finish that degree, but I was no longer going to be able to be a music degree. So I'm not sure if you guys knew that, but, of course that's a full-time thing. You gotta, be there the entire day. It's a full-time commitment. And unfortunately you can't do that if you have a full-time job. So I started going to, night classes. There was not a lot of online stuff, way back then. So it was a lot of night classes, weekend classes and that kind of thing. And, little by little, I finished up. So my degree was actually, it was a double major in English and Spanish literature. So that was my degree to be able to teach literature, Spanish or English or whatnot. And so, although I had some music hours, I didn't have enough for a minor or for a major in it. But eventually that's what I ended up doing. I had been teaching, in the Roma school system before I graduated from college as a full-time consultant, and working under Mr. Yamil Yunus back in the day when the program was in its infancy. And so I got to experience a lot of cool stuff out there, learning a lot of stuff from Mr. Yunus at the time. And definitely, there's experiences that stay with you, forever as well. So long story short, when I went back to school and finished and came out with that degree, I had been doing music for so long. I'd been doing, teaching mariachi and teaching, those newer generations of kids that were coming up, sharing the passion that I had for mariachi music with them. And I didn't really see myself doing anything else. So what I went ahead and did is I did the alternative certification for music, and challenged the test for music, and was able to thankfully pass that I forget what they called it at the time, the exit exam or whatever it was called then, and so I became certified for music as well. And so I took a job in McAllen that was available back in 2008. And that's how I started, in McAllen as well, to try to revive the program that had been there, since '88, but then had basically gone on silent for about 10 years. So that was my undertaking right there, to bring that program back up and doing music now. Although that whole course of action for me on how I came around to doing it was not, it wasn't pretty to say the least. But
why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Mm-hmm.
What difficulties did you face having to bring it back?
There in McAllen, working in the Roma ISD mariachi program for 8 years, 7.5, almost 8 years, really, I guess I could say spoiled me, if I can use that word, because of course, Mr. Yamil Yunus there, I'm not sure if he was the first one, but I know for sure he was one of the first ones that set up mariachi, just the same way that an orchestra, a band, or a choir would be set up, to where it was a full-time class. All the kids had to be members of the class, not just after school. It was a completely separate program. So, the mariachi started their own violins. The mariachi started their trumpets, of course, with qualified, people, with certified people and people that knew what they were doing, to get those kids going. And so he was, if not the first one, probably one of the first ones, for sure the first one here in the Valley that started that way, where
that trend.
That trend, yeah. And so, he directed his kids, he directed the group, typically like a band, an orchestra, choir, and he had 3 assistants there with him, specialist in each instrument to help do what they needed to do. And of course, the program was very successful for so many years, and to this date as well. They've got a really great model going on over there. So when I come over to McAllen, of course, I came out of the McAllen school system. I came out of the orchestra program there and the mariachi program, and it was basically after school. So when I came in here and tried to revive it, because there was really nothing. There was an all district group that the mariachi director at the time was trying to do all on her own for all 3 schools. So it definitely was a huge challenge. My first year was part of that district group, assisting, trying to put it together. Of course, there was kids from all the different schools, and it wasn't quite working out. So our fine arts director at the time decided to go ahead and put a director in each school in place, which was with myself there and Mr. Juan Castillo at Rowe High School, and Ms. Priscilla Sosa at Memorial. It was going to be able to happen. And so that was the beginning of having one director at each school, which is to say, wasn't the easiest job in the world still, because we still got to make it work with just, having kids after school. They were in orchestra, they were in band, they were in choir, but they did not get to learn those instruments in the 6th grade, like the other schools. So it was a big challenge getting them to do that. Of course, at the time it was just myself. So I had to quickly, learn how to fend for myself a bit on the other instruments as well, so that I could help them out. I could teach them. And, little by little, we were able to put something together that wasn't there before. Initially it was, with my old, high school director there. But it had been so long that they hadn't had something at that school. So it was definitely tough to get kids excited about it first, because, of course, they the only thing that they knew about mariachi there for so long was, that it wasn't a very complete group. It wasn't, doing very well. So of course, kids they're not attracted to something that's not, not doing too well. Everybody wants to be a part of something good, something that sounds good and looks good. And so that was the biggest challenge, the conception of mariachi at that time, from not just from the students, but also from, directors there at that time. The only experience that they had with it was something that wasn't really what mariachi should be. So changing that culture little by little, changing their minds with the way it's supposed to sound was the toughest thing. But it took a good, 3 or 4 years to get a decent sounding group there that was sounding decent enough, and, changing that mindset from other students and from the student body and, other directors from the other divisions and their students to where, hey, you know what, we want to be a part of it. I play the violin already. I want to join and see what it's all about. And, I play the trumpet. I want to join and see what it's about. Hey, I'd like to sing too. And, I don't play the trumpet, but I play the trombone or the tuba, and I want to learn how to play the guitarrón or the vihuela or the guitar. And so that's how it kind of started out. And, little by little, we're able to put something together that was sounding a little bit more, more respectable. And, we were able to bring on board some assistants, some trumpet specialists and other instruments as well that just contributed to really bringing up that culture.
So back then, it was just an after-school activity?
Just an after-school activity, yes, for the first 3-4 years.
You didn't have any, like an official mariachi class?
No official mariachi class,
man.
Yeah. So it was tough because, kids they didn't get a grade for it. So sometimes kids would show up, sometimes they wouldn't. And
what about now?
Now it's a fully endorsed class to where we have a full-time mariachi class during the day. So kids have to be a part of that. Of course, there's exceptions. Sometimes there's kids that are at the early college or at one of the other schools that are not able to be part of the class. But for the most part, they all are.
And so then, I know that this year I noticed that you guys had like a middle school program going on.
Yes, we had a pilot program for Armonía. So that's one of the things that we're still, trying to advocate for in our district. And little by little, I think we're getting there in McAllen to where we have a middle school program to kind of level the playing field with all the other schools that, being a part of that Roma program for 8 years, I got to see what the benefits of that were and what the advantages of that were, for sure, that the kids can get 3 years of mariachi experience, instead of waiting till they get to the high school to start learning those instruments. Although we've had a lot of success, being able to compete with all those groups out there, my respects for all of those groups because they do a fantastic job. It's not something that you can always do as consistently because, you don't have that ongoing farm system of kids coming up. So that 8th grade Armonía program it is the beginning of what we're trying to do in McAllen. So to establish, yes, correct. And we're going to have it again this coming year, an 8th grade Armonía program. And hopefully for the year after, the 24-25 school year, we're hoping to have everything in place to really start off in the 6th grade, and start, training our kids with all the details and all the nuances and all the, things that go on with mariachi music because they're singing, they're playing, they're performing. It's a completely different animal, than what they're used to doing. So we hope that we can offer them those opportunities and give them those experiences early on as well, like the other districts around us. And I think everybody's moving towards that. So it's good to see that happening in Edinburgh as well and all the other districts. So, definitely a great time for us and definitely a blessing that we have the support of all the parents, and all the kids and our school district as well. It's not easy to make changes, all the time, and it's not easy to get things in place. So it takes a while, and sometimes, our patience is something that we gotta keep working on and being, patient to see the final product. So it's a process. I've been there going on my 17th year in McAllen already. So it's been a while, but we're getting to where we need to be little by little. It's good to see that.
Of those 17 years, when did you realize, okay, this is going to take off? Because you told us about, the ground building, the heavy lifting, but when did you realize, okay, like it's done. Now it's going to go this way?
So I think when I kind of got a sense that things were going to go pretty well, was about 2012, maybe about 10, 11 years ago, when we started seeing the growth and the support of the students around there wanting to be a part of it. And And really with the addition of additional staff members, because, it's really tough to do it with one person. You try your best and you can only do so much. But when you have a trumpet specialist or an armonía specialist, there's double or triple the work that you can do. So that's when then a good friend of mine, David Moreno at the time, was hired on as a part-time consultant. He wasn't there full-time, but that's when he started working with our trumpet section. And that guy was a beast. I mean, that guy's a beast on trumpet, and phenomenal instructor, phenomenal performer. He did mariachi, he did jazz, he did salsa, he did everything. And so that guy right there just turned around our trumpet section. And so, as soon as he started developing those trumpets, we started getting trumpet players that wanted to be a part of it too. So we started attracting, more talent, and we were blessed to have a good, strong line of trumpets that have come out of McAllen High School under his direction at that time. And then, of course, after that, we had Mr. Victor Figueroa, who was also a big part of the program, and Mr. Neri Fuentes now, who was a student there that graduated in 2017. So to continue that going was definitely a blessing. So that's probably when I found out, okay, it's not just me. I think we're going to be able to make this happen, because, many times you want to throw in the towel because it's not going the way you want it to go, and you can only do so much. So I think after the first 5 years or so, that's when I thought, what, I think this is going to work out. It's worth the effort and staying here just to try to get it back to its glory days or better. It's definitely that was the time when I realized it was something that we could look at.
Now, since you're still at the high school level, how is it that you recruit people? How do you convince them? Now,
yeah, that's a tough part. And
not to reveal secrets, maybe you don't want to, but I'm curious to see how you do it, because kids are older at this point.
Yeah, one of the things that helped us out at the beginning was to go out and perform at the elementaries. Of course, we didn't have a middle school program, so we couldn't say, hey, sign up for mariachi for 6th grade. So there's always a gap there. So we did make sure that we went out and performed for Cinco de Mayo, for Christmas, for different, 16 de septiembre, different events that kids, celebrate at the elementary level. And so them seeing us out there performing, for them, and always trying to keep it fun. We're going to Christmas time, we're going to do some fun stuff, some Christmas music and holiday music and stuff like that. And to get them excited about it, I think that's what started helping us, because we did have kids later on that would come to us as freshmen and, oh, well, you guys played at my elementary school when I was little. And I remembered you guys, saying, hey, pick the violin if you want to join the orchestra and want to join mariachi, or pick the trumpet. And so I did. And so here I am. So I know that definitely, helped out. We perform at the middle schools as well every now and then, whenever we're available to keep those kids excited, about it. Hey, you're in band, choir, orchestra right now, but you can be a part of mariachi when you get to high school. So that helped us with the recruiting, for sure. And of course, social media nowadays, in the last 5, 6 years, 7 years or so, I think social media has a big impact on recruiting for us at the least, because we don't have them in the 6th grade. We don't have them at that young age. I think it's always good for kids to see what's going on out there. So we have a strong social media presence with our program, and I think our district in general is very big on that. I think all districts in general now are really big on that kind of stuff. So it's good to see that, and we've got a strong group of parents and kids that are in charge of running those social media pages along with directors and really promoting the group. There's a concert, they put it out there. There's a picture here, there's a video there. And so, kids are online a lot, and they see that, and, they want to be a part of it. So really that's kind of what's helped us, continue that recruitment. But again, it's not easy, because we'll have our years where we're going to be set for 2, 3, 4 years. And then all of a sudden we don't have anyone. And that's one of the things
that's a challenge right now.
That's a challenge. Yeah. We were set, some years ago, and, right after the COVID pandemic, we had to start all over again with very few amount of kids. And we had the majority of them graduate, and we have to start all again, from scratch, brand new armonía section,
and like
brand new violins. And
this year too, right? You're going to have how many graduating this year?
Well, this current year, we had 2 varsity kids graduated. So, we're coming back this year with most of the kids. But that doesn't happen very often. After this coming year, it's another 12, 13, graduate. And so that's what happened last year. From 2021 to 2022, we had like 10 or 11 kids graduated. 2022 to 2023, we had another 8 or 9. So if we look at our group right now, there's 2 kids that were left from the 2021 group, and that was only 2 years ago. There's only 2 kids that are left. So it's a big turnaround. That's definitely the biggest challenge for us, and one of the reasons that we're, really, really advocating for having those middle school programs eventually here in our district, so that we can, maintain that level, year in and year out for the kids. Yeah, to be able to compete and to be able to do what we ultimately want to do with the kids, which is building them up to where they can go out there when they go to college and they can function, as part of a university group like Aztlán at UTRGV or at UT Austin or, Texas State or UTSA or whatever other colleges are out there. And so that they're also able to learn to be able to go out there and fend for themselves, in the real world. There's a lot of kids coming out and performing with groups already. So the competition, of course, it's Texas. Everybody's about the competition, and there's a lot of talent out there. So, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some, you're going to be down, you're going to be up, and we're all going to do our best to prepare our kids. But at the end of the day, it's the most important thing, I think, to me or to a lot of us. I know my compañeros en los arrieros as well. That we kind of all think the same. Our kids are going to end up playing with each other in college. You're going to have kids from Rio Grande and from Edcouch and Roma and Edinburgh and McAllen and La Jolla and all these other schools, and out of town as well, performing with each other and being really, really good friends. And what was once a competition is now a common goal for all of them. So I think those kids are seeing that already. And some of them are out there gigging while they're in high school with each other as well. And, making good money, making 50, 60, 70 bucks an hour. I know some of the kids that are out in Central Texas, my daughter being one of them, out in the Austin area, they make 80, 90 bucks an hour gigging. And so, they need to learn that repertoire. They need to be able to have a good amount of experience under their hands. And so I think the younger we start them, in the middle school level, the more you keep them and you teach them the repertoire, the cajon, what people, are asking for, what people want to hear. Not just the competition stuff, which is very cool, of course, but not just that flashy stuff that goes on at contests, but also all the other, beautiful, boleros, rancheras, huapangos, polkas, chotices, you name it. I mean, baladas, just there's so many different music that they need to be exposed to. And the earlier we can do that, the better. So that's one of our goals, with our students here, definitely to be able to get them, prepared for when they go out there.
And so it's more about your kids.
My personal kids? Yeah. Well, that's also something that, I guess probably the most special thing that could happen to any of us as directors is to have their kids as part of their program there in their schools. In my case, I got to see that with my old boss when I was working in Roma with Mr. Yamil Yunus, where he had his kids in the program, and I never understood, how much of a special thing that was to see him, direct his own kids and have his kids as part of the program. I was always really proud of him. And, at that time, I was younger. I would see that and, oh, that's pretty cool. But I never really understood that until my son Alex was part of my group and as a freshman, and how he grew to love the music and to want to completely engulf himself in everything that goes on, from the singing to the playing to the performance aspect of it, and wanting to learn more and more and more. To see him be a part of that program there was really, really special. We spend a lot of time at work, all of us, and I got to spend more time with him when I was working there and when he was in school there than I did before, because I was busy at work. And so for him to go up to the program and get all the experiences of performing across the state, across the country, and all those workshops, all those fantastic workshops with all the greats, Sol de Mexico, Vargas, Campero, Sol, Mariachi Cobre, Nuevo Tecalitlán. It was beautiful to be able to see that. So Alex is out there, representing. Was a member of UTRGV, also Texas State, and then UTRGV, graduated from there, and member of Los Arrieros, and now a member of Mariachi Los Camperos. So definitely very proud to see our students, or in this case, my son, out there, performing with those groups. definitely very special.
And then your daughter ran off in UT
My daughter's going to start her third year at UT Austin, also a part of that group, and she had some great experiences with a UT Austin mariachi out in Guadalajara. Got to meet Pedro Rey and perform for him, and was out there for a conference with her director, with Monica Fogelquist out there, and the experiences that she brought to those kids. And when I would speak with her about this, and going back to what Miguel was mentioning, it kind of had the same parallels that the same thing that was happening with me at McAllen High School, trying to revive a program, trying to bring that up. She was in the same situation there, and I think she did a great job in those 3 or 4 years that she was there, just to completely turn the program over and then do something really special for the program and for the kids and for the university. So it was good to see her performing out there, with them as well. Also part of our school program at McAllen, got to do a lot of great things, have a lot of great experiences with our program as a vocalist and a violinist. And then, of course, my son Andrew, my youngest, who's going to be a senior this coming year, also has had a great time, being a part of the orchestra program, of course, and the mariachi program as well. And he was one of those two that his brother, Alex, kind of loved the music right from the beginning. So did Ashley. He wasn't quite too convinced at first, either. So he wasn't quite all about the whole, the playing. Yeah, he was like, okay, I'll play, but he wasn't too convinced about the whole singing thing. And, quickly he found out that it was a part of it, and he learned to love it and want to do it better and better. And, he's had some great experiences as part of the program there as well. And looking forward to beyond high school. Not sure what he's going to do 100%, but he's definitely in a better place because of the experiences that he's had with mariachi, for sure.
That's your true legacy, if you ask me.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you.
That's
definitely that they say that's what it is. All the stuff that we do, sometimes it's forgotten. The good, the day in and day out. The bad stuff that happens to all of us. Really, it's out there, but the legacy that we leave behind are our kids. Our families, and I think that's what it's about. And I feel really, really excited to see them, continuing with what I learned to love, because it wasn't part of what I wanted to do or what I even, thought I would be doing. So for us to see them, continuing to grow and do this, it's very exciting to be able to see that. And, of course, to see the support of all the schools here in the Valley and in the state do the same thing for those kids. It's a beautiful thing. We have kids performing with Sol de Mexico that were part of, groups here in the Valley at Cal Chelsea, I believe, and groups that are part of our, our school here in McAllen and Edinburgh and Roma and La Jolla and all those schools out there performing with those groups, with those big groups, in one capacity or other. It really says a lot about what we've been able to do here with the mariachi education aspect. So it's definitely a lot to be proud of, I think, and not just what we've done here personally, but what everybody's done, because it's not just it's all about me, or it's all about us. I think it's bigger than all of us, bigger than that. And I think as a mariachi community, I think we're realizing that more and more, that we got to stay together and we got to support each other. We got to root for each other. And when something good happens to somebody, hey man, congratulations, and that's awesome, and feel genuinely happy for what they're doing with the music, because it's all benefiting us. And when we do something great for our kids, we feel good when other people support us, and the next guy and the next guy and the next guy, because really that's what's going to build our community. If you look at the orchestra world and the band world and the choir world, for the most part, they're very supportive of each other. They've got their backs. And I think in the mariachi community, I think we're starting to see that a little bit more. I know it's always there's always a conflict of interest. There's always I want to have the upper edge for this or for that, but that's just the way everything goes. But deep down, I think we're seeing that a little bit more. That's something that definitely makes me very very happy to be able to see.
In this entire trajectory of your career, told us, what would you say has been the most challenging thing to get past?
As far as professionally or personally?
Personally, professionally,
Mm-hmm. Well, definitely one of the biggest things for what we do is the balancing out, I guess, of time with what we do at work and with our family life. So, a lot of times being educators, working with students, with what we do with mariachi music, they're always busy performing, competing, learning, workshops in the summer, there's always something going on. And then with Los Arrieros as a professional group as well, there's always something going on with us as well. The weekend, gigs, the occasional concerts here and there, conferences that we're a part of sometimes. And then family life, just balancing it all out. That's a hard part, I think. And, so sometimes, the hardest part is, missing out on different things, family events when the kids are little, when there's a big family event and, I can't be at it because I've got this going on with Arrieros or with school. So that has definitely been the biggest challenge. Sometimes we look back and we say, hey, I wish I would have been there for this, or I would have been there for that. And, so definitely along the lines of a challenge, that's definitely it, but as you get a little older, I think, we kind of, put things a little more in perspective and find a way to better balance things out. Hey, if there's something going on, you know what? I'm not going to miss this event for my kid. We're going to miss a gig, or we're going to miss this, or we're going to miss that, but I'm going to try to be there for them a little bit more. And I think as I got a little older, I was able to do a little bit more of that. And, that's definitely a word of advice that I'll give to my younger colleagues, try not to miss something that's going on with your family or your kid. You have to miss a gig, you have to miss an event here, try to find a way, because it's tough. You don't get that time back. So, definitely that has been the biggest challenge. But then on the other side of it, in my case, at least, I guess I've found a way to kind of make up for that, to where, because my kids came in through my program at school, I got to spend a lot of time with them when they were in school. So although I missed some events here and there, for them when they were little, I got to be a part of some other stuff that, I wouldn't normally have been able to be a part of, seeing them perform, seeing them, go through, the experiences that they go through with mariachi, because they were there with me in my school. I think that was the most, beautiful thing. So, I can't say that I regret, not being there or whatnot, because I think it all works out itself out in the end.
What piece of advice do you have for somebody who wants to pursue becoming a mariachi educator?
Well, definitely, you gotta love it 100%. You gotta have a passion for it 100%. If you don't have passion for what you're doing, you really shouldn't be doing it at all. So I think we have to.
That's what we preach over at the store.
Oh yeah, of course. And you see that. And I was going to bring that in right there, because you guys are very passionate about what you do there, and you can see it in the work that you put into Bosquis, into the business, not only the business aspect of it, but also developing, the kids, because you guys do, private lessons too, music lessons. I know there's a few kids that we have that are going to you guys there for the private lessons, for their instrumental needs, and, for their supplies and all of that. And it's good to see that, because you guys put in so much passion, and you guys are going to be successful. And I think the success comes as a result of the hard work and
it's
the passion.
It's a win-win.
Yeah, it's definitely a win-win. So I definitely would like to say that to anyone. I know we've had conversations with some younger colleagues, and, you're going to do this, and you're going to give it all you've got, and you're going to be borderline obsessed with what you're doing. And sometimes it's going to be hard to turn off the switch, but it's all part of the beauty of it. I think, because if we're not doing it with passion, it's not going to be a good thing.
Well, Alex, thanks for being here. I think that pretty much wraps up our episode for today. I definitely learned more about you. So thanks for sharing.
Well, thank you.
And Joel, do we have any upcoming events for the summer?
We do have a Coastal Band Mariachi Festival. I think it's the second year that they're doing this. I believe it's, let's see.
Over at Robstown, no?
Robstown, yeah, starting tomorrow, Monday, January 26th to the 29th.
I think Mr. John Bella is heading that up, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think, is Miguel Guzman teaching at that one again this year? Okay, yeah, they got it.
He has Miguel Guzman, and he's bringing in Rafael Palomar.
That's right. Wow. No, that's definitely
big name.
Definitely a big event to go out there. And I think that's going to take off over the years. I think we're going to need to look into it for next year.
And then we also have the Mariachi Extravaganza Summer Vocal Camp happening in San Antonio.
Cynthia Munoz with the Mariachi Extravaganza. Yeah, that's good to see that coming back after 3 years after the pandemic. So definitely a great experience for the kids, to be out there.
That's good stuff to look forward to. So once again, thanks for being here, and thanks for listening.
Thank you guys. pleasure, being here with you guys, and keep doing what you guys are doing. It's awesome.
Thank you, Alex.
Yes, sir. Thank you.